Hey, what's going on, Taco fam? So today I'm back with a special video. It's gonna be kind of like one long video, so please bear with me. It's probably gonna be like obviously the deck profile for the Dogmatica version that I was playing, but then we're also gonna do a meta discussion and things to look out for, things to watch out for, and some ideas. So let's get it popping. All right. So I'm gonna make this quick because it's not that many changes. 3 and 3. In this version, this is a lot more important because of Nadir Servant. And if you saw my last video with the combo tutorial, then you'll understand why. If you haven't, you should go check it out. Alright, for the Albaz family. So we're on 6 names this time. I think she's becoming a lot more important now. I actually really like Kit. She's like love-hate relationship, but with some of the combos, you kind of want to use her, especially when you're trying to play through Ashe on your fusion and you have ways to like play. So still do 2 Bystials. So I'm thinking in the discussion that we're going to be talking about, I have some interesting points that has to do with these, so I'm going to leave those over there. Still doing Dragoon in this version. And then for the Dogmatica cards, just 1 Ecclesia, 1 Floor. You don't need any more than this, being honest. This is the only search target for Ecclesia anyway. Because we're not really a Dogmatica deck. It's just, if we can tutor it, we may as well. And worst case, we could tag out with Grand Guignol into Ecclesia or Fleur de Lis, whichever one. And then for my little board breaker of choice, I'm still playing the 3 Radiant. Nolar's in this build, a little spoiler, but we'll get into that too. So I'll put those to the side as well. For the spells, 3 Albaz, 3 Aluber, as always. Honorable mention. So this is Cartesia. So like I said, this is Aluber, this is Albaz, this is Cartesia, and this is Ecclesia. So I'm playing the Dogmatica version because one day I was just sitting down thinking, like, how can I efficiently really play through Ashe? Because there's some hands you still just can't play through it. And that's just the inherent problem with the deck, because they made it like one-dimensional intentionally so that the deck is fair. And Servant gives you a lot of power, actually. Like I said in my last video, if you want to go check that out, you'll see why like having cards like the Dogmatica cards can definitely help you out. For the rest of the one of branded cards. So this is now important. This is a really good staple. This helps you play during the end phase as well. White's still good. It can come in and out, depends on you. Lost and then red. Not really much to say about the last 2. And then I decided to play 2 Book of Moon. I had 2 extra spaces and I figured it may as well just be a non-engine spot. And this is a very good card, and I prefer this over Eclipse anyway. Even if they make the whole big board, I'd rather still just be able to flip something down. At least this could flip the Shangri-La down, if they don't have lands, of course. And this could help you offensive and defensively. So defensively, when you're trying to resolve Alubers and stuff, dodging targeting cards, and offensively if you want to like run over something. And then for the 2 traps, nothing really changed with these 2, but this card's really busted, especially with the Dogmaticas being in the deck now. So the extra deck didn't really change too much. So not going to talk about these. I don't think you should change those at all. And now we're playing the whole Albaz family here. So every name has a purpose. This is a fusion card. This is a summon and a bounce. This can protect you from being targeted and can't die in battle. This gets over semi-towers monsters, and just if you summon this off branded fusion into an Arise Heart board, this just clears the Arise Heart for free because he will just be unaffected. And Sprint is actually really good, not just for out in contact C, which that card may not really have that much favor, but we'll talk about that later. This helps you in a lot of the combos to get to kit. And then I finally said it, and I did it, like I said before, to Dust Dragon. I think this trend should be picking up real soon. Once cash tier players really start to realize how important this card is, even though they want to really like tunnel vision, stop fusion, once they realize in branded decks how important this card is, they're going to actually start hitting this. And then the 2 bombs. This card's important, obviously, for obvious reasons. And when you do get Ashland in your fusion, and you still have a red play, or you still do the whole Dogmatica play, this card really comes up. And I'll talk about that too in the next part. And then I'm still only playing 1 Dragoon, because that's all you need. Alright, sorry that took a little longer, should have made it a little quicker, but so now let's get into the discussion. So things that you're probably going to see at the YCS, so probably keep your eyes out for this. So here's an important card that I've been seeing a lot of play, Grave of the Super Ancient Organism. This card is an FTK against this deck, just like Ash, because this card literally is Mystic Mine, and there's not much we could do about it because of Bestials not being in the deck anymore, which is one of the reasons why I pulled out the Bestials and why I wanted to talk about it. Because going forward, I actually think these cards are still kind of important, and I think we might want to start playing these again, y'all. At least in bigger numbers, because I've been cooking up a build a lot. It's still going to be just like this, but I might move some ratios around. But I think these cards might have their purpose back in the deck. The only reason why is for Branded Beast. And I know this is going to be weird because you're probably thinking, how are you going to get these on the field? How are you going to get these on the field when this is face up? Yeah, it makes sense. So we're going to try to get to this. So that's why I said kit is actually a lot more important now, in my opinion, especially with this card. So tricky thing about this card, some people are still keeping this in going second. I know that sounds crazy, but they realized and started catching on to where it's just like, okay, we're going to search to follow a fusion card, that's fine. So we're going to expulsion lock them, give them the puppet, and then they're just going to be like, okay, I can't break the puppet, that's fine. Set this card and I'll pass. And you just draw for turn and you're just like, all right, this man's about to get cooked. Then you go Branded Fusion, they flip this, your turn's over. You just make your 1 fusion, they kill you on the crackback. Especially decks like Sprite, they can efficiently play this card. This card really hurts Kashtira as well, but I think they have other ways that they could play around it. Okay, so the reason why Beast is really good here is because of High Spirits. This is really good because High Spirits allows you to access your kit. So with the Bestials being in the deck, you literally can go High Spirits, reveal one of these Bestials, any of the ones that you choose, discard them, send any of your Dragon Extract monsters, you search kit. So now opening multiple Bestials is not bad because now you could just special summon the kit. Kit search the beast. Normally Lubellion just places it, but if this card's face up, you won't be able to do that. So you just search this, put a card back, and then you could just tribute summon over with your Bestial. So now this will be live. I know that sounds like kind of niche, but it's just something to think about, keep in mind. I think that could be important in the foreseeable future. So like I said, that's one of the things you might want to keep an eye out for if you do play in YCS or if people start catching on to that trend. The next thing I want to talk about is Intis. Honestly, this is one of the only other outs to this. And that's another reason why I'm glad that right now I'm playing the Nadir Servant package, because this only affects level 6 or higher. Ents could still just pop this. You search Albaz and it's just pop this. And then you still do the in-phase combos. So I think that's really important. Or you could just be standard, you know, playing a Cosmic Cyclone. So Cosmic's good against the Floods, and it's really good against all the runic versions that you're probably going to see, aka the for hire version, which that version goes crazy. There's a runic sprite deck that's crazy. There's like a Melfi sprite deck that also, you know, could play the runic cards. There's a Sword Soul version, and I've been hearing a lot of buzz about the Mathmech version too. And that's weird to say, but the Mathmech version is literally a runic deck that can OTK you. Weird as that sound, that's a paradox to me. But enough about this card. Just know you'll probably be seeing it. So now, here's some like hand trap ideas. Like, the problem with this deck, like we always know, you have to either choose hand traps or board breakers. In my honest opinion, I feel like Branded might need to just take the board breaker approach. And Nib is really cool because it serves as a board breaker and a hand trap all in one card. So I feel like that card might be a main deck staple. I think we're going to need to main deck it. That might also be another trend that you might see. Another trend that I've been seeing a lot of people do, a lot of people actually been main decking the Puppet. And being honest, I don't actually think it's a bad idea. Not saying it's a good one or a bad one, but I could understand why. Because you win the roll, and you do Resolve Fusion, you just Puppet lock them. And that makes your game one so much stronger. And there's a cool play that I came up with whenever you do lock them with the Puppet. Because a lot of times I always end up having access to Mercarrier. I love doing this play, actually. It comes up sometimes. So it involves Jade, and you have these banished. So you can go Expulsion. So first you go Mirror Jade effect. Send something like the Sprint, like what I talked about. One of the ones that benefits you during the end phase to give you like a free monster. You could even go for the Tight Clad if you want to get into your dog engine. But for this, we're just going to say this. We're going to use the Sprint here. So you're going to go Mirror Jade, send the Sprint for cost, and then chain Expulsion. Targeting these two. And I'm pretty sure you can see where this is going. So summon these two. Mirror Jade resolves. You banish the Mercarrier again. And now you search one of your other extenders to go along with the kit that you're going to get during the end phase. So either you get the Albaz that you need, you get the Cartesia to get a free fusion, or you can get an Upstart. To me, that just sounds crazy too. And that's just benefits from like main decking it. But I'm also going to state that it's really up to you what you want to do. I'm definitely not a financial advising channel, or I'm just going to say, take everything I say with a grain of salt. These are just ideas and things that I've been cooking up, things that I've been thinking about and rationalizing just from analyzing the meta and the game. But this might deserve a main deck spot. I know a lot of people might think it's bad, but if you sit down round one, you play against Branded, they win the roll, and they puppet lock you game one, and then kill you the next turn, don't say I didn't say anything about it. Another trend, I've been seeing a lot of people start putting this card back in their side deck. And this card is actually nuts. My only problem with this card is any turn past the opening turn. Because this card gets worse and worse the more turns that go. That's one of the only problems with hand traps like these. Like, you will want to open this, stop them, and then take advantage of the fact that they couldn't play. But like I said, there's a risk to playing this, because the more the game goes on, the worse it gets. And then now we're going to talk about cash, like especially like their extenders. So these guys enable a lot of good plays, as you all know. But there's like a little 2-card combo that sort of like breaks the cash board. I don't have my Rise Heart on me, but let's just say you do open something like this kaiju here. So any kaiju plus like a back row removal is really good against them, because you literally go kaiju, even if they like have the ash or whatever, you go give them a kaiju over their Arise Heart, you like cosmic their birth, because they decided not to zone lock you, which is a good thing. They kind of lose all their resources still, because you just immediately just kaiju over them, and then you kill their follow-up with the Cyclone. So that sounds good to me, but like I said, it's all theories and stuff that I think about. Another card that I wanted to talk about is Ruler. I actually feel like this card is not bad either. Even into the zone lock board, I mean, obviously they're going to go for all your spells and trap zones, so, but in the off chance that maybe not, it could be better against other decks. But even if they can't like zone lock all of them, if they just do the standard one, which is like 3 zones, and then the moment you play a card they lock the last 2, the Ruler just deals with that. Yes, you still have those other 3 zones locked, but now you can play. You turn off the Arise Heart, you turn off the 2 Shangri-Las from relocking you, and you turn off the Mind Hacker, so then you'll still be able to play. So one of their main outs is like Lance, and they have to pick which one they want to, protect. Obviously it's going to be the Arise Heart. So at the worst, you probably still, it's kind of like Arise Heart pass still. You still got to just deal with it. Another card that I think in this branded deck that we should be playing or could be playing, like I was playing in the last of case tournament, main deck Salesman. This card is low-key, like, really good, because Branded has a problem with bricking sometimes, and has a problem with putting non-engine cards in the deck. So most of those non-engine cards are typically hand traps. So why play hand traps when you could just play a card that just stops that hand trap that kills you, aka Ash? Because this is the only card, Ash was the only card I was realistically calling. The only time I would call anything else is if I went second and they had back row or was playing Labyrinth or something. Instead of wasting a fusion card, I'll just activate this to call Barrier to make them chain to Barrier. So that, okay, cool, I know I can't fuse, at least I have the Dogmatica cards to try to play, potentially. And yes, that either situation is bad, because if you get barriered, it is kind of like a turn skip, but that's why I was thinking the Bystials could be good too. Like, it's kind of hard to play some of the Bystials because there's not that many light and dark decks going around, so you might have to enable them yourself, which is totally fine. In my opinion, I think it's totally fine. But like I said, it's up to you. Take it with a grain of salt. It's just stuff that you can theory, stuff that you might see. Could be wrong. You might not see none of it, but I know you definitely will see this card. No matter what deck you're playing, more likely, you're probably going to see this card at least most of the day, if not all day. But this is another one of those cards that the Kashtira players and everybody else has started to pick up on. It's kind of like what I was talking about with the Super Ancient Organism. They're starting to, some people are starting to like side this in and still keep it in going second, because they're expecting, okay, if I can't stop the expulsion lock, that's fine, I'll just set one of these, and then when I have to pass because I can't special summon, you go fusion and I just skipped your turn. So you skip my turn, now I'm gonna skip your turn. And our crackback is crazy and the strongest crackback in my opinion, but their engines are stronger because they don't have to go into their extra deck. We do. If you're playing Branded, you have to. That's why the Bystials I think are cool, because at least it gives you a turn, and Bystials are big bodies against Cash too. But that's another thing you gotta watch out for. You just, whenever you're doing your side patterns and building your deck, you just kind of keep these kind of things in mind. Okay. Some other things that I was thinking about was like Thrust. So the problem with Thrust and our deck per se is not very good, because what do we get out of it? We know they're going to interact with us. We know that a card like Ash is going to hit us if they draw it. But what does Thrust realistically do? Just set an Imper in front of the deck? So if y'all do want to play that card, if you have it, it's better for going second. To me, I think Talents and Thrust are just cards that are just best going second, period. Talents, I could see going first now, only because everybody's playing Ash again. But for the most part, you know it's going through if you're going second. You know Thrust is going through, and you know Talents is going through. Because they're going to interact. Even if they don't use cards out of their hand, they got cards on the field. They're going to use monsters. They're going to do something. So you at least get benefits out of that. So I think, that could be an option as well. I'm definitely thinking for Branded as well. We might need the main deck Nib again. Some of us weren't. Like me, it was like in and out. But it's like so many ideas and so many cards to play and not really enough room. Because this deck already bricks a lot. So you just gotta sit down and make some decisions and think about it. Because I feel like they're trying to, the pro players potentially might be trying to swap it back to where it's like, okay, I was respecting Nib, now I'm just not going to respect it. Like, or they're going to be like, okay, even if you're main decking it, they're probably just going to take the approach of, show me you have it. And it might work out for them half the day, other times it won't. So I would say, like, pay attention to mannerisms and stuff too, because things could be telegraphed. Maybe they have the Nib, maybe they don't. And hopefully you'll be able to not telegraph that you have the Nib and see if they just play into it. And be patient with all your interruptions. Not constantly looking at your hand, just memorizing what's in your hand and what your cards actually do. And just focus on the game. So you're not giving them any signs of anything. And if you understand the matchup, you'll know exactly where you need to be interacting. It's okay to occasionally look at your hand just to see. Maybe you want to bluff. Maybe you want to maybe your hand's bad, and then you might occasionally look at your hand just to try to bluff them so that they could run into a Nib or think they're going to run into a Nib and then play safe or trip them up, and your bad hand could turn into a good hand because you just got a free turn. Who knows? Or they might just be like, you know what? I'm just going to put you on it. And if it happens, then it happens. Probably like a few more things I want to touch on. Branded could just be a straight up going second deck, maybe. Because that 6 card could be very valuable, especially with the deck being as bricky as it is sometimes. That extra card is okay. And whenever you're siding, I wouldn't suggest like taking out engine cards unless they're not very good going second. But that's fine because it's like nothing really happened because you're going second, so you draw that extra card. So like that little math that was there when you were playing max values or something, it kind of balances out, at least in my opinion. And if any of you guys are entering in London or anything like that, I'm going to have these as like last few words. I would say like watch the streams if you're not going. Take notes of all the players' notable texts. Watch the gameplays to learn. And most importantly, take notes. That's what I do. Like right now, I'm reading some of my notes. Some of my things that I wanted to talk to you guys about because I had so many ideas. Taking notes is important because I know for me personally, whenever I'm taking notes and I'm writing stuff down, it's like muscle memory. You start to force your brain to remember things because you're repeatedly doing something. So you're doing that, you constantly writing it down, you start to understand the plays, like why. Like as you're doing it, you probably thinking to yourself, why would he make this play? Why did they make that play? So what you watching the streams and taking notes and stuff, you'll actually start to understand like why they're making these plays, and that could actually make you better as a player. Because I know that did for me, because years ago, I was dog water at this game. Like, I was horrible. And my boy CJ, shout out to you, he helped me one day, because years ago I asked him, you know, if he would coach me. And he told me the most important thing, you got to be able to listen. So that's my advice to you guys. Listen, watch, learn, and take notes. Hopefully you guys like this information I gave you. I'm sorry to be throwing a little bit of my brain at you and spilling it all over you, but that's pretty much it. I guess one last thing before I sign out. We're gonna go back and talk about this Chimera play. The same play that I was talking about with the kit. If they're gonna be setting these kind of cards going second, if you can, especially after watching this video, try to set up a Brandon and Red play with it. Because the moment they set these kind of cards, where you prepare to puppet lock them, or before it goes back to your turn, when you try to fuse again, if you set up a Chimera to pop their cards, and they don't have another Ash, the game is over. So with that, I'll be signing out. If you guys like this kind of content, let me know. Leave a comment telling me what you think. What are your thoughts? You know, I do read the comments. I do listen and try to understand point of views. You know, they're all probably going to be different. But also subscribe for more content like this. And that's it. Peace, Taka fam.